Hey everybody, welcome back to One Seed, One World. Today I wanted to talk about probably a little bit of a different subject. Instead of delving into plants or build projects, I wanted to talk about starting a YouTube channel for gardening or homesteading for those of you who are aspiring to do so. So for the beginners out here or out there, this video is for you. So the first thing you want to think about when you're starting a YouTube channel, and first off, I need to say that this is coming from me, who is a very small, insignificant channel when it comes to gardening YouTube channels or homesteading YouTube channels as a whole. I mean, if you look at some of the big channels like Justin Rhodes, Roots and Refuge, Homesteading with Doug and Stacy, some of those types of channels, you know, they've got 3, 4, 500,000 subscribers, maybe even more. And then there's other good-sized channels out there like the Suburban Homestead or the Rustic Garden with Gary Pilarczyk that, I don't know, probably have like 50,000 to 100,000 subscribers, somewhere in that range. And I am coming to you as a channel that has 1,500 subscribers. Now, I have been doing some YouTube channels in the past. I used to do a brewing channel on home brewing beer way back in like 2008, 2009, somewhere in there, up through about 2014. And I posted very randomly. I had maybe 400 subscribers total, and I kind of got away from the brewing thing and got out of that. So I have some YouTube posting experience, but not to the level of some of these other channels. But I wanted to give some information to you guys that are just starting out or thinking about starting out and tell you what my experience has been so far. So just to give you a little history on this channel, I think I started around 2019. Started off as not really trying to grow a YouTube channel. It was more for like a diary for Mitzi and I to keep up with some of our potential homesteading stuff on a property that we have in West Virginia where we want to build a homestead and do stuff out there. And we would post things every couple of weeks or whatever. And it was more like a diary for us to kind of keep track for us on things that we were doing and animals we saw or weed whacking we did or rocks we moved or that kind of thing. Nothing like very exciting, but we were posted it on YouTube, and our family and friends that were interested would keep up with that kind of thing. But we weren't really going into initially like try to grow like a big YouTube channel. Then really around end of 2019, 2020, we started to add more gardening content, and it was really in the spring of 2020, right about the time that the whole pandemic started, that I wanted to really get into posting gardening videos, how-to videos, build videos on growing the channel and make it maybe like, you know, get to the point where I could use it as a side income and hopefully build it up to that point. And so I started posting on a regular basis. And then we've grown now that we are in the fall of 2021. We're a little over 1,500 subscribers. And we broke the 1,000 mark at the end of June this year. So we've gained a few hundred subscribers since then, but it's been a long, slow process. But we're now monetized and we're growing and trying to post content on the regular and have some regular feedback and whatnot. But still very small when it comes to YouTube channels as a whole, even in the gardening, homesteading type niche. So that's my history with working with YouTube. So you're thinking about setting up a YouTube channel for your gardening or homesteading type of situation. The first thing you want to think about is what type of audience do you want to attract? What kind of information do you want to share? And what kind of story do you want to tell? Do you want to do something where you're telling your story, something like a Roots and Refuge or Justin Rhodes, where you're posting every single day and kind of telling your homesteading story and building an audience online with that kind of thing? Or are you just more about sharing with the community with, say, like a how-to on how do you build something, or how do you preserve this type of vegetable, or how do you grow this type of plant or fertilizer, or whatever your type of thing may be. You want to decide on where your story lies and where your content lies. And then going from there, think about, is that niche that you're going for, is that going to garner enough content for you, for if you really want to build a channel and be posting videos on the regular. I mean, with just gardening, depending on your growing zone and where you live, you might not be able to do that year round unless you have a good setup where you can show things in growing plants indoors. But what do you do during the winter? Are you going to have enough content to post on the regular? And that's why I've kind of gone with our channel being more of a all-encompassing homesteading thing, where it's not just growing plants, because while it's primarily gardening that I focus on, by the time October or so rolls around, I start running out of things that I can grow and do here in our growing zone for Western Maryland, Zone 6B. And so I need other things to be able to keep the content going on my channel. And so that's something that you want to think about. If you're only growing banana trees or lemon trees or lime trees, are you in a growing zone that you can film that kind of stuff on the regular? And if not, do you have a setup that you can do it over the winter kind of thing? I don't know, that's a weird random aspect or example to put out there, but it's just something to think about. Do you have other things that you can keep the content going? Because if you're really trying to grow your channel, YouTube as a business is looking for creators that are going to constantly bring viewership to their application. They want people that are gonna post on the regular, so that people keep coming back and viewing, because what helps you helps YouTube. So those are things to think about. But from a homesteading channel aspect, you have a lot of different things that you can do. Maybe you're focused on gardening. Maybe you're focused on build projects. Maybe you have poultry or livestock that you are, filming all the how to take care of them, raising them, selling eggs, selling meat, whatever the case may be. It might be outside of just the gardening realm, or how to build greenhouses, chicken coops, maybe it's woodworking, all that kind of thing. There's all kinds of things within homesteading for self-sustainability. It gives you a wide range. So you want your channel content to be broad, to give you enough subject matter to be able to film and share with people and tell your story. But you don't want it to be so broad that it comes across like you're all over the place, where this week you're doing a movie review and next week you're doing, I don't know, canning tomatoes. So, try to keep it within a specific subject matter, but that gives you a wide enough range, but not too wide, I guess is what I'm saying. One thing with doing a homesteading or gardening YouTube channel is it's kind of a pain, because you're not just going out to weed your garden or pick your vegetables or grow a plant. You got to carry your camera out there, whether it's your phone or whatever camera equipment that you're using, and you have to think about that you are going to be talking to your audience, and set up the camera so they can see what you're doing, and that it's like a quality shot, something that people are going to want to watch and stick with and watch you through to the end, is what hopefully is your end goal, that they'll watch your whole video, because you're putting all this time and effort into videoing, coming up with your content, editing it, posting it, and then somebody watches 20 seconds and they're like, I'm out. So, you want to think about setting up the whole shot kind of thing as best you can. And that is not always fun if you just want to go out and prune your tomato plants. If you got to carry the camera out and be like, oh, okay, I got to prune the tomato plant, but I got to set my camera so that it's got a good shot, and then I got a good close-up so they can see how I'm pruning, and I got to explain how I'm pruning the plant, and then talk about the history of pruning, or whatever the case may be. It takes a much more involvement than just going out and doing your gardening thing. And so if you're wanting to start a YouTube channel on gardening and homesteading, whatever the case may be, you have to think about, you can't just go do your thing. You have to film your thing, and in many cases talk about your thing. And so setting that all up takes more time than if you were just doing it without all the filming. Along with your setup, just think about a couple things. Big thing for me is audio. I've watched some videos in the past that had some really good information, stuff that I wanted to learn or know about, but their audio was awful. Like, there was wind blowing, you couldn't hardly hear them. Maybe there was machinery or somebody mowing or weed whacking nearby, and I don't know, whatever the case may be, different kinds of noises that become distracting and makes you not want to watch the video. So if you're going out to film and you're maybe in a smaller yard and your neighbors decided that they're going to mow at the same time that you want to film, you might have to postpone filming that segment and do it when there's less noise. Or maybe it's a really windy day and you don't have a good microphone, and so there's all this going on, and you're trying to convey your message to your audience, and all they hear is wind. You might want to wait and film that particular episode or video on a different day when you don't have high winds that are causing all kinds of noise. So think about your audio, because it's a big player when it comes to posting YouTube videos. You want people to hear what you're saying. Now, if you're just doing a video without you talking, and it's all maybe just film, pictures going by or whatever, with maybe subtitles that you go in and edit with some music over top of it, then you don't have to worry about that as much. But if you're trying to put your personality and yourself on the film, think about your audio. Next thing to think about is lighting. I did a video earlier this week that I posted, just a little kind of B-roll shot of different things of me around the garden. And I had shot the whole thing like 2 days before, but I did it in the middle of the day. And this time of year, with the late October sun, middle of the day, things are very glary, and everything was just washed out looking on all the video that I took. Just everything's white out, kind of. And I couldn't use any of it, so I had to go back and refilm the whole thing at a different time of the day when the lighting was better. I did it earlier in the morning when there was not so much glare. So think about your lighting. Whether you're indoors, make sure you have enough light or not too much weird glary light going on. Maybe take a couple of test videos, look at it and see if it looks okay to you. I mean, is this something that you want to watch, or is it all washed out and people aren't able to see what you want them to see? Or is it too dark and they can't see what you want them to see? So think about your lighting. You don't need a whole professional lighting setup if you're just getting started on YouTube. I mean, I've been doing this for a couple years and I don't still have all of the professional cool, lighting equipment. I don't have money to do that kind of thing. And probably many of you out there won't either. But you can use natural light. Just pick your time of day so all your stuff that you're trying to video isn't looking just too light or too dark. That's all I'm trying to say. Pick your time, your shot. If you're doing videos like this where you're talking to the camera, or talking about plants that you're growing, chickens that you're raising, things that you're building, are you comfortable talking to the camera? Do you need a script? Do you need notes to refer to bullet points? I have just a couple like little scribbles here on this sheet for this video to help me remember just kind of points I want to hit going along. Generally, I don't use a script or even notes, which probably shows in my videos. It's something that I need to work on because I tend to ramble a lot and repeat myself. And I would probably be better served by using notes or bullet points or a script. And it's something that I have to still work towards. And you need to decide whether that will work for you on, can you just sit down and get straight to your point and keep people engaged, talking to the camera, or should you have some notes and bullet points and cover all the things that you want to cover in your video, and make sure that you remember everything. There's multiple times that I have filmed things and I have stuff in my head when I come out, but by the time I'm looking at the camera or doing stuff, I forget half of it, and then I go back and I'm editing and I'm like, oh, I meant to mention this, I meant to mention that. Dang it. You know, and if I had brought notes with me, I would have probably had better information in my video, or maybe kept more to the point. So decide on if you want to use a script, or at the very least using some notes, bullet points that you can refer to, and kind of switch from your notes and then over, and then you cut these parts out where you're referring to your notes. So, starting a YouTube channel, what kind of equipment do you need? Well, these days you can use your phone and just go straight up using your smartphone camera and do all of your videoing on that. There's all kinds of apps where you can edit it with. I'm not going to get into the details of all the apps and software and stuff that's out there. But you don't have to go out and spend a bunch of money on a lot of different equipment. Now, for me, videoing has been my hobby for about 15 years now. I'm still definitely no expert, and I'm still trying to figure out things. All of my equipment is older. I use this for most of my video. I use a Canon XF100 video camera, which was, you know, is an HD camera, but it was I guess it was something that, like, there were different like news crews and stuff that would use this camera back probably like 2008, 2009, somewhere in that range. And I used to watch videos on this camera, and I was like, oh, that's the camera I want. And it's so awesome, and it takes all this awesome video. But I couldn't afford it back then. I mean, the thing was probably $3,500 or so at that point. And so I didn't buy that camera. I had a little tiny DV mini tape Sony camera thing that I used for years. Finally, I was able to purchase this camera, but I didn't purchase it till like 2015, and by that point the price had dropped way down because the camera was older and not really like top of the line anymore. It's done me fine, even though it doesn't have all the awesome 8K features and all the stuff that you see nowadays with some of the new stuff. But now those new cameras, which are much more compact and much smaller, they are like $3,000-$4,000 in many cases. And I can't afford that. You probably can't afford that. If you can, go for it. Get yourself some top-of-the-line stuff. But what I'm saying is you don't have to. You can use older stuff. It's helpful if you can have a couple different cameras just for adding more oomph, I guess, to your videos. You know, different, like, where you can have two different angles going at the same time. But I have an older GoPro, I have the GoPro 6. I use my cell phone for different shots. And then I do have a small drone. I have a Mavic, a DJI Mavic Mini 2. I had a bigger DJI camera, like a more expensive one that I used a bonus I got from work to go out and buy this camera a couple years ago, or this drone a couple years ago. And I had it for 6 months, and I crashed it in a creek and fried it, and it died. And that thing had all kinds of cool options, but I ruined it, and I lost all my money that I put into that. And so then I bought this like little drone, which was like a third or a quarter of the price of that one. And I get some cool shots. I just don't have all the options. But these are just things that you can do if you have the equipment or have the money to put into this kind of equipment, and then you can take some aerial shots and some other cool things, but you don't have to do all that. For hardware, if you have just a cell phone, or if you have like a regular camera that takes some video footage, those are things that you can work with. And then if you really want to invest more into your YouTube channel and growing it and getting cool aerial shots and all this other kind of stuff, if you are invested in doing that, then move to that point. But you can start off small and buy older used equipment. You don't always have to buy the newest thing out. Save yourself some money and buy older stuff, and then work your way up as you get better. Software for editing, there's all different kinds out there. There's free stuff. There's probably apps on your phone, depending on what you're doing. I use Adobe Premiere Pro. I've been using that since the early 2000s. It's probably, I think I got my first Premiere Pro copy on a disc around 2004, somewhere in there. It's been a while, and then now I've got, it's not a disc anymore, of course. It's like a Windows version, and I've just kept using those products because I know them, and they're Windows based. I have a Windows computer, and so that's what I use, and I'm still learning how to use all the things that they do. But if you have a Mac, it might come with some other, I forget the name of the Mac program. Or if you just use your phone, there's apps, right on your phone that you can do editing with. You don't have to go out and buy or spend a lot of money on expensive editing software. Again, just like the hardware, it depends on what all you want to put in to your videos and how much time and money you want to put into it. But you can start off small and grow from there. Next thing is with making YouTube videos is, do you just want to sit and talk to the camera the whole time, or do you want to add in, some cool special effects? There's all different kinds of channels out there that have B-roll, and that's kind of like all the side shots, the slow-mo stuff, the aerial views, the cool close-up of a plant with the wind blowing on it. That kind of stuff helps add some beef to your video. While if you're just sitting there talking, people sometimes can get bored of that. Probably like you're getting bored of me talking right now. But if you're flipping in all these different cool other shots over top of your narration, and those shots fit what you're talking about, it keeps your viewers engaged. So think about when you are setting up your shots and filming, about taking other video of stuff that you're talking about. If you're doing something all about green beans, maybe you want to talk all about green beans and how to grow them, but then take a lot of other, film stuff of the green bean plant, of you planting the plants, and then you can edit that stuff in your final project, so that when the viewer is watching it, it's not just, this is a green bean plant and this is how you plant it and this is what you do. They're seeing, you're talking about it, your narration's in the background, but they're seeing all the action stuff that goes along with it, just like when you watch a movie. So think about other content that you can add to your filming to kind of help beef it up. There's a lot of YouTube channels out there that focus a lot on filming tips, editing tips, B-roll tips, all that kind of stuff. And also product reviews on different types of equipment and software, and there's all kinds of stuff. I recommend watching those videos. You might not remember 95% of the stuff that you see. I know I don't. But I pick up little tips, and then you can incorporate those tips into your videos as you improve and grow your channel to help make your content better as you go along. It's not going to happen all at once, especially if you're a novice like me. You're watching stuff and you're like, how do they do all these cool, like lighting or effects or or cuts or zooms and whatever. But if you take a little bit of time, you know, have your morning coffee, watch a couple of these videos, something might click, and you're like, oh, I'm going to start incorporating that into my videos going on, and you will see just some increased quality in your video that both you will appreciate along with your viewers, that would just kind of make it cooler overall. I'm losing my wording here, but I mean, think about some of the stuff that you've seen on YouTube when it comes to gardening or homesteading, and you think about ones that maybe it's somebody just walking along like eating a vegetable in the garden and talking about the vegetable, versus channels that show like some kind of cool shot, you know, while they're talking, or, you know, some aerial shot, or some cool close-up, or some bug, or, you know, those kinds of things. Think about those kind of shots and how to edit those in, and watching these other channels on how to edit things and film things can give you a lot of benefit. There are so many out there that I would just say, think about, you know, I don't have any specifics. The one specific one I can think of is a guy named Matt Johnson, who does a lot of product review on cameras, but he also has a lot of instructional ones on how to edit things and lighting and all kinds of stuff. And I've gained a lot from his channel. But then from there, there's multiple others that I've picked up like little tips on that I am just now starting to incorporate into my editing, and I hope to continue to improve on those, and you can do the same. Along with B-roll stuff, think about, like, along with your niche and your content, like, how do you want to portray yourself? You know, how do you want yourself to come across? Do you want to be funny? Do you want to have like sound effects that kind of make people laugh? Do you want to throw in like little funny side clips? Maybe some special effects if you're good at editing. You know, those kind of things. Think about just outside. I guess what I'm saying is, think outside of just the gardening homesteading box. Yes, you can walk around and talk about goats. Yes, you can walk around and talk about beans or tomatoes or cucumbers or chickens, or how to can something. But if you can throw in some like other little sound things or whatever, maybe it'll keep viewers more engaged. If you're throwing in extra sound effects or extra video clips, just something to think about. You don't have to do about it. The most important thing is to stay true to yourself and what you want your content and message to be. But what I'm trying to say is that there are a lot of other options to throw into that you can try. Maybe they'll work and maybe they won't, but have fun with it. Have fun. You know, the YouTube, if you are making a YouTube channel, it shouldn't be like, oh, I gotta go make another video, dying to make the donuts, kind of, you know, thing. It's like, it should be a joy. And then if you end up growing your channel exponentially and making money off of it, then that's all the better. But if you aren't enjoying filming your YouTube videos and really being passionate about what it is that you are trying to do and the content that you're trying to bring across, that's going to convey to your subscribers and your viewers. And if you're not happy about it, they're not going to be happy about it. So throw in stuff that adds to you, but that keeps you you. Yes. Once you start posting videos, I would say, you know, one thing is with YouTube is consistency. You need to post on a consistent basis, whether it's once a day, a couple times a week, once a month. Just make it consistent, and just be aware that the more that you post, the more content you're going to have out there, the more chances you are for viewership and for hits. Do you want to tell a story every single day, you know, your homesteading journey that, you know, is going to bring in a crowd that wants to follow your journey? Or are you just doing like a once a week how-to? How do you build something? How do you do this wood burning? How do you raise these chickens kind of thing? It doesn't always have to be every day, but it should be on a somewhat consistent basis. And you know, if you film 2 or 3 videos all at once, and you know then you can't film for a while, maybe schedule those videos out. YouTube gives you the ability to schedule, so that way, all right, I know I won't be able to film during the whole month of October because I'll be in Belgium or something, you know. But I don't want to take a whole month off of my viewers not getting anything. So I've already filmed these 4 videos. I'll have one post once a week, each week that I'm gone. And then you kind of keep the consistent thing. Or you could post all 4 videos at once and then just say, hey, everybody, I'm gone for a month. I'll post when I get back. You know, I guess it doesn't matter too much, but you want to be kind of consistent. Once you do start posting, there will be trolls. You will have people, just like with any social media type thing, that will not be kind, that might say mean things, or maybe they'll all say nice things, but you'll get spam posts. I have multiple videos that, you know, I'll post it in a couple hour or so later, a couple hours later, it'll come up and say, oh, there's a comment on such and such a video. I'm like, oh, cool, I get to, you know, go respond to somebody. And it's some weird spam link that somebody posted that you have to delete, or that YouTube has put in your junk file or whatever. So, you know, one thing with anything with the internet, you kind of have to have thick skin. Know that people aren't always going to say nice things, or you might just get junk. And you have to be prepared for that and be okay with it. 99%, in my experience so far, being a small channel, is that most people are super nice and we're like, hey, thanks for this. Hey, great video. Or, you know, could you expand some more on this? Can you answer this question? You know, it's that kind of stuff. But you will get people that are just like, you don't know what the heck you're doing. Why are you making a video? You don't know what you're talking about. So there's those kind of people too. So there be trolls, there be spam. But just, as long as you're aware with it, can deal with it okay, brush it aside, move on, keep doing what you're doing. So it's just a couple of tips that I have being a novice YouTube channel. And like I said, you know, I'm very excited that I've crossed that 1,000 subscriber threshold that's required for monetization. That happened for us back in June. We're about 1,500 now. And it's very exciting to me. I love being part of the homesteading gardening community on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I love watching other channels, whether they're the big channels or even some of the small channels that, you know, might have 50 or 100 subscribers. I get value from so many different things out there, no matter the size. And so my advice is just to keep posting, putting your stuff out there. You will have people connect with you. And if you really want to grow your YouTube channel, just be consistent. Look at your overall content and quality, and just keep posting and learn as you go and try to get better as you go, and the subscribers and viewers will come to you. A big thing is patience. You never know when something is gonna blow up. For example, I had a video that I filmed, I think in June of 2020, on how to prune zucchini plants. And, you know, in June of 2020, I don't know, I might have had a few hundred subscribers. No, I don't even think I had that many. I might have had a couple hundred. I forget. Anyway, so the video itself got like 20 or 30 views maybe back then. Okay, cool, whatever. And then all of a sudden in June and July of 2021, kind of mid-June through mid-July, during that 28-day period, that video got over 45,000 views. Suddenly, how to prune zucchini plants apparently was a thing, and my little 8-minute video or whatever it was on how to prune zucchini plants blew up. And that was right about the time that I got monetized, and so suddenly I was making income off of this video, which I was like, what's going on? Like this video's, and then that video died off, and now it gets maybe a few views a day, but you never know if you're going to have a video that might hit for a little while. So keep posting your stuff and be patient. Maybe you're posting out of season or at the end of a specific season where it's not catching, because maybe this time next year that's going to be a popular topic that everybody's going to be researching, and maybe you might be one of a few videos available that talk about that subject. And so that's where it comes to like looking at your subject matter. Like, if you're doing like little focuses on things, maybe other people don't have that, and maybe it'll never really be popular, but you never know. So just get your content on there, and maybe something will blow up, and you make a little money off of it, and then people get value from your content, and you're contributing to the community, and get that feedback, and you're discussing things, and it's all cool, but you have to be patient. One last point is I have to say that doing a YouTube channel has been a huge learning experience for me in the gardening and homesteading type subjects. Not just on how better to talk to the camera, and granted I still need a lot of work on that, or how to edit and film, still need a lot of work on that, but also just learning about even subjects that I talk about. There's been certain plants that I've posted videos on where I've done some research on, and I'm growing it, and I'm posting my experience with growing the plant and all that sort of thing. But then I get feedback and questions from people on YouTube, and sometimes it's questions I don't know. So then I gotta go research it so that I can answer the questions, and then I learn even more about the things that I'm doing. Or, if I film on building something, and somebody's like, oh, I did this, I built it this way. And it's like, oh, yeah, that would be a much better way than what I'm doing. So not only are you learning your, communication skills with talking to camera, or you're learning about filming, editing, lighting, you're also learning about all the subject matter you maybe already know a lot about, but there's always somebody out there that knows something else or has done something else and will contribute back to you, and then you pick up that knowledge. Like the Ben Folds song, there's always somebody cooler than you. There's always another video out there, or there's always somebody out there with more information. But in this community, there's so much sharing going on. You're going to learn so much different aspects of gardening and homesteading, filming, editing, all those subjects. It's just going to kind of fill up more of your knowledge, fill your knowledge tank. And so if you are just thinking about, if you haven't started yet, and you're just thinking about starting a YouTube channel, I would highly suggest to go ahead and do it. If it's what you want to do and you love, and you're willing to put the time and effort into it, go for it. The market is not saturated, because with any subject, whether it's building raised beds, growing green beans, tomatoes, all that stuff, everybody has different takes and aspects on it. And most people, when they're researching these subjects, want to see multiple videos to get different ideas. I know when I watch YouTube on a specific subject, I watch tons of videos on the one subject to the point that I'm sick of that subject. But I get so many different inputs from all the different people that are posting their content, whether it's from a channel that has 700,000 subscribers to a channel that has 50 subscribers. I pick up little points from each one of those channels before I go do my thing. And so just know that you're contributing to that, and that what you have to say matters, and getting your content out there matters. So I hope those tips from a beginning YouTuber, a novice YouTuber is what I consider myself. I hope this helps, and maybe gives you some inspiration that you can grow to those points where maybe you're making a little bit of money, or at the very least you're just having a good time contributing and getting contributions back to you on your channel. Because growing a YouTube channel is pretty fun, even though it takes the extra work of the filming and the editing. So feel free to share your experiences below of things that you, as a new or novice subscriber, or if you happen to be some big channel that wants to put your input into, it's always welcome. All the knowledge and all the input and feedback is always welcome, because we can always learn from these different things. So put your comments below on what you think and any suggestions that you have. Please hit a like on this video if you found it helpful, and please subscribe to our channel. Whatever's going on in your neck of the woods, in your greenhouses, gardens, YouTube channels, go do it. But I hope you're having a great day and it's gone fantastic for you. We will see you again soon. Namaste, everybody.